Crisis Leadership and Agency Capacity, produced by Catholic Charities USA.
Catholic Charities USA is the official domestic disaster relief agency of the United States Catholic Church. Its disaster response team provides leadership on a national level in crisis situations.
A local Catholic Charities agency provides leadership during crisis situations in its own diocese. Some local agencies have years of experience and are recognized leaders in providing immediate and long-term relief that helps vulnerable individuals and families rebuild their lives. These agencies are able to mobilize quickly and effectively to aid those experiencing or recovering from disasters.
Even if your Catholic Charities agency has not yet experienced a natural disaster, the potential to be affected by one or more disaster types always exists. Natural disasters. Some areas are prone to certain types of natural disasters, such as floods, tornadoes, hurricanes, wildfires, blizzards, and earthquakes.
Human-caused disasters. Human-caused disasters such as large fires and industrial explosions can occur without warning. The effects of climate change and environmental degradation can increase vulnerability to natural disasters that were once uncommon in a community.
Complex emergencies. Catholic Charities agencies can be called upon to assist with complex emergencies, such as food insecurity, job loss and eviction, civil unrest and conflict, and with meeting the needs of migrant or displaced families and unaccompanied children.
Pandemic emergencies. The global COVID-19 pandemic is a stark example of the devastating impact of disease on local communities, states, and entire countries.
Catholic Charities USA provides an array of tools and other resources to assist agencies to build disaster response capabilities. These resources include a series of online training courses consisting of videos and accompanying guides. This training video, Crisis Leadership and Agency Capacity, was produced to help agencies develop or enhance crisis leadership capacity through better training and how leadership traits and skills translate during a crisis. It introduces job aids and other resources that may enhance an agency's ability to assess and prepare internal structures for disaster operations. This preparation will enable the agency during a crisis to be resilient enough to manage impact and respond quickly to a community in need. The participant guide that accompanies this video includes a summary of content, tools and other resources to use in assessing and tracking agency capacity, and activities to apply concepts to your own agency situation.
Part 1. What does effective crisis leadership look like? Effective crisis leadership begins with effective leadership during daily agency operations. Identifying agency risks and developing a disaster or emergency plan are essential first steps in preparing for disaster response. To provide effective leadership in a natural or other disaster requires more. Catholic Charities USA studied agencies with disaster experience to identify the traits and qualities of an effective crisis leader.
Many, if not all of the same leadership traits and qualities are required during non-crisis times to fulfill the Catholic Charities mission. To provide service to people in need, to advocate for justice in social structures, and to call the entire church and other people of goodwill to do the same.
Crisis leadership is multifaceted and dynamic. The circumstances determine what is needed at any given time. Effective crisis leaders are
able to coordinate. Working together with partners enables Catholic Charities and its partners to maximize assistance without unnecessary duplications.
Decisive. Disasters often pose problems for vulnerable survivors that require immediate action.
Experienced. When the actual disaster occurs, Implementation of plans and allocation of resources can be performed smoothly when they have been performed previously in actual or simulated events.
Goal-oriented. It is important to focus on what the agency is prepared to accomplish. No one organization can solve all the problems created by the disaster.
Able to communicate. Sharing accurate information with staff and partners in a disaster environment is crucial to the agency's ability to help vulnerable survivors.
Able to facilitate. The number of people and organizations involved often grows with the size and complexity of the disaster. This means additional effort is needed to enable your team to be comfortable and efficient.
Able to manage stress. Exposure to traumatic situations like disasters can cause psychological dysfunction and has to be managed in order to perform our work effectively.
Able to listen. Taking the time to listen is critical for effective communication anytime, but especially in a disaster, when there is so much activity and information to filter.
Open-minded. Even with solid disaster plans and protocols, crisis leadership requires the ability to change direction in response to unexpected circumstances.
Responsible. Disaster needs create an environment ripe for overcommitment, promising only what can really be accomplished, and then doing so is critical.
Able to prioritize. In the ever-changing disaster environment, crisis leaders stay focused on what actually contributes to the agency's overall goals for the disaster.
Able to think critically. Using job aids for collecting and filtering information is one way to think critically, even when stressed, exhausted, or overloaded with information.
Able to adapt. Agencies may be involved throughout the multiple phases of a disaster, from response to recovery to long-term recovery, and each phase will entail different needs and requirements.
Able to maintain a sense of humor. Humor can be an important coping mechanism when under stress. At Catholic Charities USA, we look at ways to operationalize these crisis leadership traits so agencies can engage in and, in a sense, practice them ahead of time.
For example, to operationalize ability to coordinate, Catholic Charities USA encourages agencies to bring a community disaster response partner to the Applied Institute for Disaster Excellence. This type of interaction builds relationships that lead to enhanced community planning and coordination with immediate and long-term disaster services. Practicing when the sun is shining will create a strong foundation for leadership in a crisis. The participant guide includes a crisis leadership job aid to assist your efforts.
Part 2. Assessing capacity for crisis leadership. Catholic Charities USA has also found that agencies are better able to lead in a crisis when certain structures and policies are in place.
Informal operational protocols and procedures may seem adequate for day-to-day agency operations. However, even in blue sky times, the unexpected may affect an agency's ability to operate efficiently and confidently. Consider staff absences or illnesses, staff transfers, or retirements of long-time staff. Under circumstances like these, having proven processes can help bridge the gap until normalcy is regained.
Catholic Charities USA has developed tools that enable agencies to improve capacity one step at a time by assessing current status, prioritizing the capacities to develop or improve, and tracking progress.
Agency Target Assessment. This tool focuses on the structures and policies used in daily operations that create a foundation for shifting to disaster mode.
Volunteer management, donations management, external communication, internal communication,
Onboarding new staff, training and staff development, Staff Policy and Procedures Manual, Finance Policy and Procedures Manual.
This assessment can be used on a regular basis to self-evaluate the agency's existing operational processes. Each capability can be rated from 1 to 5, with descriptions at each level.
Example, Donations Management. When rating current processes to perform donations management, the tool uses the following indicators to rate the level of preparedness.
1. No formal donations management process exists. 2. The process consists of a simple database to acknowledge contributions. 3. The donations management process is managed by the diocese. 4. The agency has a strong donations management database that has had limited use by agency staff. 5. The agency has a strong database and designated staff.
Strengthening this process improves the agency's ability to manage donations in all circumstances. Having a strong database with experienced staff to manage it enables the agency to respond efficiently if the level and type of donations dramatically increase in a disaster.
After completing the assessment in all categories, agency leadership can choose the targets upon which to focus.
A copy of the Agency Target Assessment is included in the participant guide.
Activity: Agency Target Assessment. When the video is paused, please refer to the blank Agency Target Assessment in the participant guide. Take a few minutes to familiarize yourself with the tool. If time allows, begin rating your agency's level of strength in one area. Complete the rest of the assessment later with other agency staff.
Agency Disaster Capacity Framework. Another tool, the Agency Disaster Capacity Framework. It's an Excel spreadsheet that's used to assess an agency's capacity to perform in a disaster in 6 broad categories.
Emergency Management Partner Coordination, Parish Engagement, Agency Leadership, People Power, Communication and Fundraising, Agency and Facility Readiness.
There are multiple capabilities listed in each disaster capacity category. Agencies list their capabilities as minimum, intermediate, or maximum. The grid helps an agency identify its existing capacity and identify concrete actions it can take to improve. Again, using this tool on a regular basis can help you chart growth and identify areas where improvement is still needed.
Success does not require an agency to reach the maximum in every category. Striving to reach a higher level than the minimum, for example, by using this tool, helps the agency develop into a disaster-ready organization. A copy of the Agency Disaster Capacity Framework is included in the participant guide.
Activity: Agency Disaster Capacity Framework. When the video is paused, please refer to the blank Agency Disaster Capacity Framework that accompanies the participant guide. Select and assess one capability in each of the disaster capacity categories. When time allows, continue the assessment with agency staff.
Part 3. Agency Success Story.
We at Catholic Charities of Southwest Kansas utilize these tools provided by Catholic Charities USA over the course of a 3-year period, from 2018 to 2020. Our communities are at risk from tornadoes and floods and, of course, pandemic and other hazards. Our initial assessment showed us that we had low capacity to respond. While we do not have the resources to staff a disaster team, we did want to strengthen the capacity of our existing staff. We set a goal to become better equipped to partner with communities impacted by a disaster through a clearly articulated disaster plan, well-trained staff, and strong collaborative relationships with key partners throughout the Diocese of Dodge City. Using many of the tools available through the CCUSA Disaster Library, our agency developed and created a system to track staff training, updated our job descriptions, strengthened relationships with parishes and key community partners, invited pastors to identify volunteers, and now actively engage with local emergency management offices. During the COVID pandemic, our efforts enabled us to partner with the Cathedral Parish to deliver over 900 meals to 90 families in quarantine, meeting the immediate needs of those families. We believe we also enhanced public safety because those families did not need to break quarantine to access basic needs.
Part 4. Resources and Training for Increasing Disaster Capacity. Catholic Charities USA provides other resources to assist agencies that are building their disaster response capabilities.
The Applied Institute for Disaster Excellence Training. AID is an annual disaster training consisting of presentations and workshops covering a wide range of current disaster preparedness, response, and recovery topics relevant to Catholic Charities agencies. Expert presenters are selected for AID both from the internal Catholic Charities Network and external organizations.
The CCUSA Disaster Training Video Library. As mentioned earlier in this video, Catholic Charities USA has developed a series of online training videos and webinars intended for use by Catholic Charities agencies in developing disaster response capabilities. A guide to these videos is included in the Resources section of the participant guide.
The Catholic Disaster Preparedness Program. Another program available online from Catholic Charities USA is intended to help prepare individuals, families, and Catholic parishes. Catholic Charities agencies may wish to facilitate its use in their diocese. The program consists of a 3-part video training series including a facilitator and participant guides. It is available in both English and Spanish. Links to the Catholic Disaster Preparedness Program for individuals, families, and Catholic parishes are also included in the participant guide.
Tools and job aids. Each Catholic Charities USA training program includes or references tools, checklists, forms, and templates designed to assist agencies to perform preparedness, response, and recovery responsibilities. One example is the CCUSA Disaster Operations Map. It identifies hazard risk and enables the user to visualize a particular area's social vulnerability, housing, and transportation vulnerability, and demographics. It can be used to strategically allocate resources to prepare for disasters and to identify where vulnerable populations live within an area affected by a disaster.
Catholic Charities USA Member Network. Many Catholic Charities agencies are located in high-hazard areas that are repeatedly affected by natural and other disasters. Because of their experience and effectiveness in these events, these agencies are considered to be true crisis leaders in their communities. When a member agency needs assistance, Catholic Charities USA is able to facilitate sharing of this expertise, in addition to other resources in support of the Catholic Charities mission in disasters.
Wrap up. Agency disaster capacity is increased when agencies enhance capacity from a holistic approach. Response to disaster and crisis events are an integrated part of agency operations, and agency staff can pivot from their blue sky responsibilities to disaster response crisis management roles. Contact Catholic Charities USA for resources and training opportunities that will assist you in improving your agency's overall capacity to assist the poor and vulnerable to respond and recover. Email at disasteroperations@catholiccharitiesusa.org or call Catholic Charities USA at 703-549-1390.